Guys, it's Miss P here. Today we're just going to go over a little bit about zeros and roots. This should be a little bit of an overview because we have touched on this prior. So if this kind of feels familiar, it should. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about zeros. Those are your x-intercepts, okay? That's where your graph either crosses the x-axis or even touches it. Which at this point, I think we do know what zeros are, but just a little overview. The next thing that I want to talk about is besides the zeros, we are going to talk about, sorry, this eraser is still learning how to do all this. The next thing we're going to actually talk about is roots, okay? So we found out our zeros. Let me erase this. Good, okay, it's working. Now we're going to talk about zeros, okay? I'm sorry, roots. Okay, guys, your roots are pretty much the same thing as your zeros, okay? They're where you cross the x-axis, but your roots are the x value, okay? So there's two parts of roots we need to realize, okay? What are the roots? So what are the roots? And how many roots? All right, so essentially this lesson today, you're just going to be looking at a graph. You're going to tell me how many roots the graph has and what are the zeros, okay? So now I'm going to do some examples since we kind of went over, the background knowledge of this. So I'm just going to erase this. So let's look at a graph. I'm just going to draw one really quick. Bear with me because I am getting used to this. Okay. So let's say we have a graph that looks like this. All right. I want to know how many real roots I have. Guys, the reason we call them real roots is because they show up on the graph. They're real, they're not imaginary. Remember we talked about imaginary numbers. You can't take the square root of a negative number, that's imaginary. It's possible to have imaginary roots, but you do not need to worry about this for this time. And then we're going to go over our zeros. All right, so let's look at this. How many real roots do we have? So pretty much, guys, all I'm asking is how many times does this graph either touch or cross the x-axis? So if we were to look at the x-axis, which is this line right here, how many times does it cross or touch? Well, it crosses right here and it crosses right here, which means that there are 2 real roots. Okay? Because it touches twice. Now we're going to zeros. Guys, zeros just means at what value does it cross? So over here, that's a -2, and over here is a +3. So my zeros would be -2, comma 3. Done. That is it. Okay? That is all you need to know how to do. So if you want, pause this so you can copy down this example because I'm going to go to another example right now. About to erase. Erased. Okay. So let's try another example. I am going to have this like this. Okay. So we're going to find our real roots. And we're going to find our zeros. Okay. So let's look at this. Now, technically, this graph does not cross the x-axis, but it does touch it. All right. And where does it touch? Only one place right here. So guys, unlike the other graph, which touched 2 places, this graph only touches once. So there's only one real root for this. Okay? And then for the zero, well, at what number does it hit? That's a +4 on the x-axis, right? So my zero would be 4. Ta-da! Not that bad? All right, let's try another example. So pause if you need to look over. All right, next exams. Okay, how about this? Okay. All right, guys, look at this one. Does this graph ever touch the x-axis? It actually doesn't. This line right here, it doesn't touch. So guys, there's 0 real roots. And if I asked you for my zeros, none. Okay, it doesn't touch the bottom. Just kind of wanted to show you that if you guys did get an equation, that actually doesn't touch the x-axis, that would have 0 real roots, and there would be none. There would be none zeros. Or that sounds weird, but you get it. All right, one more example, just because can't see you in class, so why not? All right, so let's go. That does not look as good as I wanted it to. I apologize. My graphs are just what they are. All right. So we're going to do real roots and then our zeros. All right, guys. So how many real roots do we have? How many times does this cross the x-axis? Well, it crosses right here, right? And right here. So since I have 2 places that it crosses, there would be 2 real roots. Now my zeros are at what x value do they cross? This is a -5. Sorry, I really tried with that line. And this is a +5. So my zeros would be -5 and +5. Guys, this is it for today. You have a worksheet on this. You just got to tell us how many real roots there are and what are the zeros. Tomorrow we will start something else, but for today, this is all you really have to do. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us. We are here, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Bye. See you later.